Hi, guys. Thank you for listening to the GR Rideshare Adventures podcast. This is a bonus episode. I sit down with Jackie or Jax from Michigan Insurance and Financial Services, MIAFS. And wow, what a good interview. It's quick, it's short, it's to the point. Jackie is a sponsor of our show, and she sells insurance. So please reach out to her. She saved me $70 a month. Why wouldn't you? 269-569-6127. 269-569-6127. As you'll hear, that is her direct cell phone. And you can email her, Jackie at MIAFS.com. Jackie at MIAFS.com. We kind of just talk about insurance and tips and those kind of things. So thank you, Jackie, for supporting the GR Rideshare Adventures podcast, and enjoy. Hi, guys. Welcome to the GR Rideshare Adventures podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. I got a bonus episode here with Jax from Michigan Insurance and Financial Services. Don't ask her about the financial services. That's what she just told me. So, sorry. Pull that mic up there. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a terrible host. Pull it like right up.
Oh, okay.
There.
Like back close?
Yeah.
Well, all right.
Is that cool?
Yeah, that's cool.
All right. I'm a terrible host. I apologize for that. I'm like, I can't hear her. What is going on? So why don't you tell me about the company? You are a new sponsor, and I'm super excited because just real quick, if you haven't listened to the other podcasts, you save me a ton of money, like $70 a month.
Yeah.
Which, okay, and the small, $70 a month. But for the whole year, it's like over $800 or something like that. So it's a lot of money. So I'm super excited that you decided to sponsor the show. So why don't you tell me a little bit about you and the business that you work for?
Yeah, I've been doing insurance for about 7 years now for the state of Michigan. For the last 4 years, I've been with Michigan Insurance and Financial Services. We're a great independent agency, so we actually have several different carriers and companies that we represent. That's on the personal auto home side, also some commercial, and then I do also offer some life insurance too. So
okay,
yeah.
So you're a broker, right? So that means
independent agent, I guess, is what they say.
Okay, I should relabel what I say because I've been saying
broker.
Broker.
Yeah, some people would say it's a broker too, just because we don't typically work for just one carrier.
Right.
So we're working for the client. We're still the agent. We're still servicing the account. We're still making sure everything's going smoothly with the account, making the changes for you, with all the servicing, etc. So we're still kind of like that guy right next door, but at the same time, we just have a lot of different choices.
So, and you don't have to. It might be in the weeds. Her and I talked before. We're going to try to keep everything out of the weeds and not too complicated, because insurance is a complicated thing. And if you have a specific question, please email her because I cannot answer it. So how do you get paid then? Like, I'm interested how you saved me a ton of money and then you still got paid. So
yeah, no, that's actually a fair question. Everybody asks that usually because that's usually the first question people ask. Well, do I got to pay you a fee?
Right, exactly.
And the answer is no. You don't pay me a fee. The carrier pays me. So we're getting paid a commission to place that business with that carrier. So each carrier has a different percentage that they pay out, and we just get paid based off of that.
Okay, well, that's good. And so you do a little bit of life insurance. One thing, my old insurance company, like the last 6 months, he's been like hounded me for life insurance. Now I have it.
Sure.
Like I've had it for a while, but man, he just was beating down my door. I'm like, man, must be a good commission on that life insurance.
Depends on what you're buying.
Yeah, I guess. So don't get me wrong. He was a good agent. There was nothing ill will. And then, bad about him. I was just looking to save money. And it's kind of funny when you do change insurance companies. If you do, Jackie can send a form out. You don't even have to call them. And it's like, isn't that so 2020? Like, you don't have to break up with your insurance agent. You just be like, yeah, this isn't going to work out. I'm going to let someone else do it. So
yeah, it's super fair. People typically don't like to break up.
I know.
Yeah. But that's what's cool about me too, though, is because like in 2 or 3 years, maybe 4 years, your rates go crazy again. Well, I got all these carriers. Like, we'll just look again.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage because you're sticking with one company and it is what it is. Like, this is the price. I mean, you can complain about it, but so let's dive into a couple of questions. we had some that I came up with, and then some that some of the listeners did. And one of the ones I came up is like, why is it important to have that extra rideshare insurance, the rider that. Honestly, Farmers was the first. Okay, Farmers was my agent. I just blew it. Well, I don't want to tell you who the agent was, but Farmers was the first company in Michigan to offer that rideshare insurance. So I had Farm Bureau, and the second I found out Farmers had it, I switched companies. Like price was because I wanted to make sure I was covered because like before that, we're just kind of rolling the dice.
True story.
So why is it important?
So I would say the biggest thing that's important for is because if you get into an accident and your carrier finds out that you're driving Uber that night, they could deny your claim.
Yeah.
Literally. I mean, and that's the biggest thing. You have your liability all set up with Uber or whatever. They do provide that for you guys. And I know that that's the first thing that obviously somebody would want to go after. But the biggest thing is fixing your car. Well, what happens then? I don't know what the underlying rules are with that policy with Uber or with Lyft or with whatever rideshare company it is. But the bottom line is that I do know at least two of my carriers that I can think of in my lineup that would and could deny that claim.
Okay,
so
that they don't. They don't offer it. Okay,
no.
Yeah, I'm not
it's a
sure.
big no.
Okay, I'm surprised there are a ton of, you said a few, but that everyone's not doing it. I don't know why.
I think it's coming. I think that it's just so new and so fresh that like understanding that risk and how to price it is been the challenge. But yeah, I mean, I know a few of mine do offer it now, and it's just a rider on there. And honestly, it's not that much.
No.
I mean,
I don't remember
not much of a cost difference.
I don't remember what mine was. I mean, I am older. I'm not 25 driving around, so which would be a lot higher. But I think I don't know. It's probably like. I don't know, $20 a month. I don't know.
Yeah,
$10.
Maybe even less. It just depends.
It shows how much I really studied I just looked at the bottom line. I'm like, that looks good. As long as it's apples to apples, I'm cool. One of the things that gets brought up a lot is the level of your personal insurance when you're doing this kind of work. Because let's face it, you're at risk. I mean, the more you're on the road, the more you're at risk of getting dinged up. Not necessarily you doing it, but someone else. Do you recommend having the max amount of insurance on your personal policy to just kind of help?
Yeah, I mean, that's actually one of the big things that's changing in July 1 is the recommendation for the state is going to be changing to $250,000 per person, $500,000 per accident. Everybody's used to, I have 20/40 or I have this. Well, it's not enough. It's just simply not. But yeah, I would say the lowest amount, that would be it right there. 250, 500 would be the lowest.
Okay.
But 500,000 and above is great. But really the biggest thing that I would say that I would offer a person, if they're really looking to make sure they have that extra protection is getting an umbrella. And that umbrella gives you an extra, $1 million worth of liability for yourself and covers not only you, but everybody in your house.
Okay. So how would it work if, and I know you don't know exactly the rideshare policy, but how would it work if like I got in an accident, but let's say Uber only covers up to a certain amount. Let's say it's $1 million.
And I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, and then I think that's what it is. But then what if it goes over that? I mean, money adds up quick.
It's going to kick in. So you are technically insured double when you're insuring yourself with that rideshare, rider on your policy. So you got that $1 million from Uber. They're going to go after that first. Then they're going to go after your liability limits. And then, so on and so forth. The state of Michigan does also have PIP still. So that's still in play. And so if someone's injured in an auto accident, that's really where they're going is with that too. So, but that's one of the things that's changing, in July. So those.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit.
Changes.
Is that going to bring the bill up or down?
And they say initially they're supposed to be slashing the rate on PIP. That's what they say.
Okay.
Do I think it's going to change somebody's rate significantly? I don't know. It's really going to depend on the level that gets chosen. We're going to recommend that everyone keeps it unlimited still. I mean, we want you paying in because even if you pay $1 in, you're going to get paid out.
So explain what that PIP is. I don't actually know. Personal injury something, I think.
Yeah, personal injury protection. It's a state of Michigan thing. We're technically a no-fault state right now. And so if you're injured in an auto accident, that's what helps pay your medical bills.
Okay. Yep. So speaking of medical, why does it ask, like when I was shopping for insurance and I actually did go to Progressive site and it kept asking about, do you have health insurance?
Sure.
So how does that work? Like what kicks in medically? Like if I checked, yes, I have health insurance, does my rates go down because my
Depends on if your plan coordinates or not. So that's the big if right there is, does your health insurance coordinate with auto accidents? So meaning, does your health insurance pay out first if you're in an auto accident, or do they say no?
Oh, so you have to
call and ask.
Oh, so you have to find that out before you check that.
Yeah, we check into it typically for our clients too.
Oh, good.
We can look into it.
I'm sure.
There's like a list, that we typically like to go off of. We do send it into the carrier. If the carrier denies it, then you would see your rate, increase possibly. Not every carrier offers that big of a discount anymore for it. Progressives, honestly, is probably where I would say they're the fairest. They're charging about the same for it to be primary versus excess. Some cases it might be a little bit less, but some, it really varies on the person. I mean, it's like your IQ test. When you're
boy, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, no.
So my buddy, Pete, was in an accident in a Lyft, and he was driving. He did not have a passenger. Someone rear-ended him, then she took off. Got the plate and everything. I don't even know what happened with it, but their deductible is $2,500, and which is a lot. It's a lot of damage to get to $2,500. I mean, especially just in like an offender bender. Yeah. Well, it took them forever. It took them like 7 weeks to finally come back, and they nickeled and dimed it down to under $2,500. So Pete was going to have to come up with like $2,200 to fix it. Well, Progressive stepped in and paid it, and I was like, oh, that's why I went right to Progressive. I didn't tell you that initially because I wanted to see what you came back with, but I was like, seriously, that's amazing. Like, it's not a lot of money to them, but the repair actually was almost $2,800, but somehow Lyft's adjusters got it down under that mark. So I was really excited to hear that an insurance company actually stepped up and said, yeah, we'll cover it. I wonder if that's standard or if that was just like, hey, thanks for being a customer.
No, it's not thanks for being a customer.
Okay.
If you have that coverage on your policy, such as yourself, with Progressive, and we have that box check that you're a rideshare driver, if something happens in an accident, yes, that
really
we will allow you to make the claim through Progressive, and you will pay the deductible that was selected on your policy at that time.
So it goes to Lyft first. And if they deny it, because they're the first, right? And if they
I always say send it to them first, absolutely.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But when it comes down to that deductible and getting the car fixed, you might want to talk to both.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good to hear then. That's huge because I think people are worried about that $2,500. If that's the case, then you almost hope they don't do it because then if your deductible's $500 or $1,000, I think I don't think do they have anything higher typically? The deductible?
Usually we do 1,000 or less.
Yeah, that's the
1,000 is the standard, I would say.
Yeah.
And usually that's because of, liens on cars in the banks, and they don't allow it to be any higher than that. Oh. So there is actually a rule in place for lien holders and also people that lease cars. That typically, I would say most banks, it's $1,000 or less. And so you can't have your deductible higher than that.
Oh yeah, because I've never been offered anything higher. Because some people, if you got an emergency fund and if you can save monthly, the chances of how many people getting in an accident, just like my wife drives to work every day and, to the gym and maybe the grocery store. Put her on a $3,000 deductible because the chances of, although you can't predict someone hitting her, I guess. Sure. So I don't know. It's so.
You can self-risk though. So if you do own the vehicle outright and that's a risk you want to take, there are companies that do offer up to $2,500. I've noticed not every carrier does, but there are a couple out there, and you might save $10-$20 a month.
Yeah, I guess that's not that big of a deal. But so let's see. Well, let's go in. We'll ask some questions from the drivers. So Jamie asked, can I still drive without the rideshare rider? Yes.
I would say yes, but also, it depends on your carrier. I would check with your carrier and make sure still. It's a sticky situation.
Honestly, I knew going in there was a risk, and I don't know why I took it because I got tattoos. I just not a huge risk taker when it comes to that.
Because you got that Uber insurance, and so everyone thinks, oh, well, I have this Uber insurance, and so I'm going to be fine, and it doesn't matter. Well, it could.
It could, and then I would see on all the chat rooms. What am I? Not AOL. All the Facebook groups. I'd be like, don't tell your insurance agent. you will they will give you your warning right there.
Yep, absolutely. We actually have to immediately, if that's disclosed to me, I'm immediately like, okay, well, if you're going to be driving rideshare or doing Uber, I said, then we need to move you to a specific carrier that offers that. And we're going to do it now. If you're doing it now, or if, as soon as you enter that contract where you're going to turn that button on and hit the road, we really should move you.
Yeah. And then I tell people, I have even had close friends that they're like, yeah, I don't want to get the rider. I'm like, it's so cheap. Like, why? Everything could be covered for you. Why would you cheap out on that? Like, if you're going to cheap out, like, fine, I don't know, don't go out to eat today or something. I mean, it's not that much. But one of the questions, this is mine too. So there's a lot of food delivery out there now. I do it too, Postmates, Uber Eats. I don't do Uber Eats. It's terrible, but Grubhub, like all those. And then there's Amazon Flex Delivery. So that rider doesn't cover any of those, correct?
Rideshare does. So I would say still have rideshare on your policy. From what I'm understanding, we did check with one of our carriers and they said that yes, it would cover the same way. That would be something that we would want to maybe specifically ask, of course, the carrier up front. But I say still have that rider because that's still a form of rideshare. I mean, you're still doing something. If you're working for Domino's and delivering pizza, that's a different story.
Because you're not an independent contractor at that point. Okay.
And you don't have an underlying liability policy typically when you're driving for, a Pizza Hut or a Papa John's or something like that. So, and so then again, every carrier is going to be different on whether or not they're okay with that risk.
I know originally when I talked to my farmer's agent, they said that it did not cover Amazon. Now, that was over 2 years ago.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the Amazon. I would hate to say yes and be incorrect on the Amazon. But my understanding as far as the other, anything correlated with like the Uber Eats and what have you, the rideshare should help out with that.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. So this is from Chris. What happens to it's kind of a medical question. What happens to a person that gets into a rideshare accident and they have no medical insurance? Does the company take the hit, the driver, or both?
Well, typically you should be carrying primary PIP then on your insurance for
if you
your
don't
personal
have
insurance.
Yeah.
And so as long as you're primary on PIP and you're paying into that PIP, then PIP's going to pay out if you're injured.
Okay, so that's easy peasy then. So if you don't have health,
if you injure somebody else, then that's different. They're going to be going after the liability policies first. But also again, PIP's in the state, so some of that overrides, and it all depends on how it shakes out. So they'll go after some of the liability there. They'll take PIP here. Yeah.
So my question is, if you don't have health insurance but you have the rider, do you still have to get PIP by law?
By law, everyone has PIP.
Okay.
Yep. So everyone has it on their policy. It's not an option.
Okay. One of the questions from Vaughn: has the state roped any auto insurance companies to maintain coverage without the rider? So meaning, like, is there a company that for sure will cover you without the rider? I guess that's.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, because that's the purpose of the rider.
That's the purpose of it. Yeah, they want to know if you're doing it.
Yeah, because more risk.
Exactly. Yep, exactly. Yep, they want you to know, and so then, that's why we make sure we have a few carriers that we can, that are competitive still, that are great companies, that offer that coverage.
So, commercial policy, I flirted around with that and got a few quotes, and it was ridiculous a month. And, does that change what you can do in your car if you have a commercial policy? Meaning, can you have alcohol in your car, or is that not an insurance thing? Is that more of chauffeur's thing?
That's a chauffeur limo type situation.
Because I don't know what.
Its own licensing through the state, for one, and then you would have to probably get some sort of liquor liability commercial policy if you were having any alcohol in your vehicle. That would 100% be a commercial policy. What you're doing off hours, like driving to and from, your commercial policy would still cover you during that time. But I mean, they look at that almost like a taxi or a limo service then at that point, and it's pretty costly.
I think it was like, I don't know, it was gonna be like $800 a month or something.
Was like $10,000.
It was ridiculous. And I'm like, I wonder how you could do it if, because I know there's people that have cars. Let's say you have like 5 cars, and you can rent them out to drivers. Sure. And I wonder if you would have to get
commercial too.
Would that be a commercial? Like you would have to have a commercial policy to do that.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
I don't know how that works. We did look into it as a group, as GR Rideshare Adventures. We did look into maybe doing. I was like, we're not. I don't know. It seems a little sticky. Seems like there's a lot of liability there.
There
and
is.
I don't know if I want to mess around with that because I've seen some rideshare drivers out there. So, I want to talk about like saving money, and I know it's all individual. What is the best way to like get a hold of you? I know you're advertising you. I mean, you work for the company, but what's the best way to get a hold of you to get a quote?
Yeah, I mean, we do have a Facebook page, and that's totally fine. That's actually managed by all of us. It's Michigan Insurance and Financial Services Grand Rapids, because that's where our office sits. There's actually a few of us that work in that office. I'm one of them. But I would say, give me a call or shoot me an email. Those are obviously the best ways. And you can text me. I don't care. That's fine.
Okay.
Too, so.
If they do reach out through Facebook, should they say
shout me out? Just say, hey, I want to talk to Jackie. Or I actually have admin rights to that Facebook too, so I see the messages coming in and everything.
So you can be like, no, that's mine. I know that guy.
Yeah. But always, just because then, it creates less confusion and things like that. But hey, just shout out that you heard something from this podcast. I go by Jax or Jackie. Either way, everyone knows who I am there. So
cool.
Yeah.
What else do you want to, talk about? Like, do you have any thing that maybe I missed that you think this is important for our rideshare drivers?
Yeah, I would just say, make sure that you're prepared for July 2nd. Some changes that are going to be coming. And if you have questions, happy to go over any of the questions that you have. I don't care if you end up getting a policy with me or not. I'll still look at it for you. Making sure that you're set up for the best situation coming up here with the new law changes. That's probably the biggest thing that's going to be happening right now. Yeah,
I got your name from Gabe, and he was like, he just raves about you, and I'm like, all right. And then I told him to put it, because we maintain it's not a huge chat. There's about 60 people from around the country, and I know you obviously only do it in Michigan, but
we do actually have a couple other states. So if you're close along the border, Indiana, Illinois, actually Texas, funny enough, I know, it's kind of random, but I mean, we're actually licensed in a few other states as well. So if somebody, Florida, I believe Tennessee even, I mean, there's somebody at our office that can definitely assist those people too. So
so Gabe was like just raving about you, and I mean, there was about 6 people that are like, I don't know if anyone else reached out from that initial when he posted your number, but I'm like, oh yeah, I was already, you'll love this. This is what set it off for I had no problem with the service with farmers. I just happened to look at my policy documents, and they had the rideshare coverage on the wrong car. I don't know how long that's been like that. I've been with them for 2 years.
Wow.
I was like, they switched it right away. Sure. I emailed them, and within, 10 seconds, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, and switched it. But I'm just like, okay, I'm going to shop around, and then like a week later, Gabe's like, I don't know how it came up in the chat, but I was like, give me your number. So yeah, I'm happy to say it went smooth. Everything was done online. You didn't have to even go in. You could sign everything, which is, the technology is amazing. So, you probably could have had me going sooner, but we're like, let's do it on the day your drafts the other one, so it's just like seamless.
Yeah, I like to accommodate people as much as I can. So if it's easier for us to start the policy on your next payment, unless we're saving you something like completely astronomical and you're going to be getting, money back, then, we like to make it smooth. So, just like canceling the policy for you at the other place. I mean, I know it's so little. Some people do it themselves, and I don't care which way you do it. I'll offer it.
It's just, it's just so funny how people nowadays, everyone's like texting. No one does the face-to-face, and it's like, wait, you can break up for me? It's the best. So, well, thank you for coming in and talking. We'll post this, and if people have any more questions, definitely. Obviously, everyone knows your number.
The phone number that you're throwing out there is actually my, cell phone too.
Okay.
So feel free to text too if you don't want to call. I don't care. I mean, that's not a problem. Facebook me, that's cool too.
Yeah.
Or shoot me an email.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Have a good one.
Thanks.